Today I'm headed for Hanging Canyon. It's one of the unmarked, unofficial trails in Grand Teton National Park. It's a tough climb. It's what's called a climber's trail because it's rough, it's non-switchback, and it's pretty much straight vertical up. I'm starting at String Lake trailhead with the outlet at String Lake and the bridge behind me here. And in this video I'm going to show you what Hanging Canyon is like. Hiking to Hanging Canyon is actually quite the adventure. There are two possibilities of trailheads. The first is String Lake, where you go to the outlet of String Lake, cross this bridge, and start heading towards Jenny Lake. The other option, the shorter option, is to go to Jenny Lake south, catch the boat across, and then start hiking from there. That's much quicker and easier. However, this is all about hiking in my Jackson Hole hiking guide, so we're going to do it the old school walking way here. It's quite the trek. It's not, I would call, family friendly because it's tough. You don't want to take the kids on this bad boy unless you have some real tough kids. So I'm going to start heading out. We'll check out a couple trail junctions, and we're going to hike Hanging Canyon in Grand Teton National Park. This is ultimately where we're headed, Symmetry Spire. Hanging Canyon's right here. There's another canyon here, but that's not exactly where we're headed. It's much more over there towards Cascade Canyon. You can see this lump here and it goes in between there, so it's quite a bit of a hike, and as you can see, it's a lot of vertical gain real quick. In just a few short minutes you'll come to a trail junction here. You'll see all these hidden falls and String Lake and everything. You're going to want to head towards Jenny Lake Outlet and Hidden Falls. That's how you get to Hanging Canyon. Right before you reach the junction, you'll cross 3 small wooden footbridges, so you know you're in the right area at least. When you reach a tree that's fallen like this, you'll come across a rock circle, and it's right before the 4th footbridge, and the coordinates are 43 degrees 46 minutes 13 seconds north, 110 degrees 44 minutes 34 seconds west at 6810 foot elevation. As Hanging Canyon is an unofficial trail, you won't see any markers here. I hear a couple people yelling for bears up there, but you'll see this little rock circle here. And that is literally it, and that is your junction for heading off into Hanging Canyon. After half an hour, it's my GPS says 7,300 feet. You'll encounter a nice flat spot. It's a good place to take your first rest because the trail keeps going up that way. At the flat spot you can enjoy the waterfall, and then you can see your trail here, this cliff. The trail works its way up around the edge and across there and then up. The trail doesn't go around that slope. It goes right towards the cliffs. Here with the thin ribbon fall, there's a trail that leads to the water so you can tank up, but the trail cuts to the right and begins working its way up there. And as you get close to the cliff face, the trail continues switching back straight up. From down there through here, all the way up there. As you reach a relatively flat spot, slopey, you start going away from the cliff and you head east, west, whatever this is, east, through the trees towards the ridge. The trail on the second switchback stays in the conifers to provide some shade, which is very nice, because as you can tell, this is a sweat fest. The trail doesn't go over the ridge, although it's worth a quick look later. Instead, it stays on the south-facing edge of the ridge and continues making its way up. It leaves the conifer patch and it should head over there somewhere. And then the trail goes along top of the cliff. And I run into quite a few couples. I got a 5 o'clock start. Once it goes vertical for a bit after that fallen tree, comes to a flatter area and switchbacks, and continues on past some nice flowers and another good watering spot. Above that little short switchback, above the vertical, trail converts to subalpine flower zone. Very nice. And then the flower growth where it's hip high shrubs and flowers, the trail is extremely rocky and water flows over it. And the trail follows the dirt and hits a rock face where there's no obvious trail. I don't see any cairns, so you just gotta make your way up this rock face. Trail's probably right there. Once you pass that first rock face, don't crawl up this. Instead, there is a vague trail here that makes its way up much easier than going on that face. Avoid that, come over to here and continue on up. When you hit this big dirt glob, right before you get to this big rock face, look to the right and the trail actually switches back up this instead of being in the rock face. It comes to the rock face and keeps making its way up. Rather than, that is annoying, don't go over there. Before you get to the rock face, as you get through that weed patch, start heading up this. You see this tiny little falls. You shouldn't be anywhere near it. The trail is right in this area. If you see, when I step up here, see this rocky knob? If you stay in this little ditch, started by that rocky knob and a few of these trees, stay up there, the trail is very clear. And eventually you're forced to be next to this little waterfall, but you can see the trail here, stay in this zone. Don't end up in that rock climb. Avoid that rock climb. Don't climb up that. Stay on the trail by that knob. It's much easier. It's driven pretty much paralleling this creek. You can see the guys up there. Just keep working on finding that trail. Eventually you hit a rock fall on the vague trail that you're going to have to work your way up to get to the next section. Well, the trail goes up this open rock face here, cuts across, so you get a little exposure, and you cut across there. It's not too bad. And as you make your way up, you'll be able to see Arrowhead Pool right over there. It's kind of, you have to go through the rock fall to get there. But you want to continue on up this trail. Even though it looks like you get driven towards a canyon, you come to here, towards this face, and the trail leads away and works its way up an easier route because that is a chute. And you aim for this rock chute right here, takes you up to the stand of scraggly conifers. And as you pass that mound on the trail, you come through here to a wall, and there's your first lake. And I'm at 3.5 hours, just under 3.5 hours of chattering, about 3 hours. I'm at Ramshead Lake, and the Rock of Ages right there. At this point I'm going to slather on some more sunscreen because it's been a hot, sweaty hike up. It's not really that hot, but just the exertion makes me sweat, so I'm going to re-slather it all in my face and everything to protect me because this high altitude sun burns pretty quick. Enjoy this short trail section from Ramshead as it comes up here. It pretty much terminates in the rocks, so you're going to have to make your way up to avoid being on the glacier if possible. Either way, it's a little steep, so you have to make your way up safely. Once you reach the top of the rockfall, you'll come across Lake of the Crags. You can see a couple of hikers here, and other people wandering around and trying to loop the lake. There's the Rock of Ages and the jaw way up there. There's some people talking about jumping off that rock right there, but there's shattered rock in that water. You'd never make a distance. That would be death. If you have the energy and time, going to the western end of Lake of the Crags is definitely worth it. A little bit different view, perspective. The walk along the north edge of the trail, it's pretty easy. There's one little lump of rock you got to get over, but it's really no problem. And then if you have a lot of energy, you can head up towards what's called the jaw there. It's supposed to be a non-technical climb. Just got to be careful because of the rock fall. Consider a helmet and all that. But it's a super beautiful place. And you come to this end of the lake and you will pretty much got the energy. Jaw is right there. My planned route is up around the grass area. Go across there, traverse, and then connect and see how we're doing. You can either go across that low rocky slope or go more direct and take this line right here. There are other lines too, obviously. And just a little class 3, class 4 climbing here. Just a little bit, but the nice part about this more direct route is we come around, put you on an easy path for quite a bit versus going in the rock. It's steep rock hopping all the way up. This actually has a vague trail. So far this has been a better choice. Even though a little more climby, I got on this nice path real quick. That rock crawl, ugh. So far so good. You can go up that steep gravelly rock fall and then across and connect, it looks like, or take this path, go over a tiny bit of ice bridge there, and then go up and make your way up to the next level. If you choose the snow slope, it's about 30 degrees, 25 to 30 degrees, and it's just a real short section. That way you don't get too much exposure and run out. And then hit the rock and inspect there, or go across and hit there. Be aware that if you reach the last of the flat parts, heading up towards the jaw, even the really big rocks are loose. Things have not settled here, and they're probably not going to settle anytime soon. So even stepping on big boulders twice my weight easy, they rock and roll. So definitely be aware. It's class 3, scramble, hands required. The north face of the Grand Teton becomes apparent. Doing pretty well. I guess that's a cube. Not exactly sure. Looks a little scrambly, to say the least. That might be tough. Almost at the top of the spire. And so far so good. Still scrambly. Nothing's gone crazy yet. I did use part of the Glacier to ascend when it wasn't too steep. That way I can make a little faster time, but once it got too steep, I cut to the rocks and then continued up. So far, the northern approach has been nice. Gotta head for those shrubs there, come up here, and then I was hoping I wouldn't cliff out, and it doesn't. So I could have walked all the way across, but then I'd have to do another traverse. Thus far, the direct method has worked pretty well because got some grass, rock to scramble, and we can still keep going. I was worried I'd end up with a cliff like Disappointment Peak, but so far so good. Once you get past this area, the climbing actually becomes easier. It's loose, but it's less slope. So far, I'm getting pushed to this line here to the north, and this looks a little tougher to climb. So I'm following this line all the way up. So far, good. And the last part of the climb, followed up here to there, and then traversed through this rumble. It looks steep, but it's pretty climbable, just hands and feet. Got to here, checked out the crazy drop. Watch out, because those rocks are crazy overhang. I don't know about that, but coming over to this pile here. And here I am on top of the jaw. Whew! Took 8:30 to 3 o'clock, so 6.5 hours. It's a hike. I look across there. I see that other summit boulder. That's a little scarier. And this boulder right here, yeah, that's pretty solid. So I don't want to get too close to the edge because some of these rocks are very overhanging. As you can see, the view. That's Cascade Canyon way back there. Is Solitude Summit. That's the South Fork. That's the North Fork. Paintbrush Divide. And then down Paintbrush Canyon. 8 a.m. start. Put you here at 2:30 or 3 o'clock with a lot of chattering. So the drop off is pretty crazy over there. It's a couple of parts started getting like, ooh, I don't know about the route, scramble, is this going to get too steep? But once you reach a more level part, then it actually becomes easier. So about midway in the climb, it's a little more scrambly, a little more climby, but totally livable. You start to think, ooh, am I doing this? Should I do this or whatever? But we'll take some more route notes. But that is the climb from Ginny and String Lake up to Ramshead, up to Lake of the Crags, and all the way up to the jaw. Sweet! Hope you've enjoyed this trip. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional adventurer. Please like and comment on the video, and if you found it useful, subscribe to the channel. Check out my link below to the Jackson Hole hiking guide. It'll tell you all about this climb, this hike, and all the other climbs in the region. That way you can get some really good outdoor experience. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe out there.